This is NTV.
It's 3 minutes to the top of the hour. Any minute now, we will know the verdict, at least from the floor of the House of the National Assembly, as they have for the better part of this evening been voting on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, otherwise known as a BBI bill. We'll be crossing over live to the proceedings right now, which are coming to the conclusive end. And so far, it has been allowed, yes, but we will get the final word from there in a moment. That's what's going on at the moment. Here's what else we have lined up for you. Tonight, the case for and against.
This document to me is a poison chalice anchored on treachery and loaded with deception.
Let us face outside there politically. But the bill has got nothing to do with all those issues that are being raised, Mr. Speaker.
National Assembly votes on the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill. Also tonight, promise of local COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing as U.S. pledges to eliminate copyright restrictions.
If we are given these intellectual property rights, putting up the infrastructure and producing the first doses is not as difficult.
Plus, from the dusty fields of Siaya to the Apex Court, the story of Supreme Court Judge nominee Justice William Ouko.
Ouko hakupenda kucheza. Alikuwa tu mtu mpole, alipenda tu classwork.
You wouldn't know that if you saw him interacting with people in this village.
And the High Court may have lifted a ban on slaughter of donkeys, but opinion remains highly divided.
Wanasema kichinjio watatumalizia punda.
Punda ichinjwe. Manake nyama ya ng'ombe imekuwa bei kali zaidi.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us once again on NTV Tonight. I'm not alone. Flora Tieno is our sign language interpreter. And top on our focus is the National Assembly, at least what's going on in light of the BBI bill. And the National Assembly is currently holding a vote on the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020. Actually, this is the activity at the floor of the House at the moment. And it has been concluded, at least the voting part. And I believe what's happening right now is the counting of the yeses and the nays. And let's just listen into a bit of what's going on right now. And then once we are through with at least having the Speaker make a final declaration, we'll be crossing over live. So far, it's a wait and see, and as soon as there's some action, we'll cross over live to the National Assembly. And now here's the COVID-19 pandemic situation in the country today. From the latest round of testing on 8,853 samples, there were 705 people who were found positive, translating to a positivity rate of 8%. The fatalities have also gone up by 25, making the death toll now 2,850. On a welcome note, 711 more people have retested negative, making the total recoveries now over 110,000. We wish quick recovery to the 1,086 patients who have been admitted in various healthcare facilities, the 6,381 who are on home-based care, and some of whom might be watching us right now, and the 131 in intensive care. The Kenya Medical Research Institute says that while a lot more is still required, Kenya has the capacity to produce COVID-19 vaccines locally should it be granted access to intellectual property rights. This comes a day after the United States announced plans to share vaccine patents as a way of addressing nationalism and shortage. But as Anita Nkonge reports, it may be easier said than done.
A statement by a U.S. trade representative says President Joe Biden's administration notes the extraordinary circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic and has called for extraordinary measures to deal with the matter, paving way for lifting of patent protections for coronavirus vaccines. This means that once approved, individual countries will be able to produce vaccines by themselves with access to the IP rights, reducing the over-reliance on imports. The European Union, from where the AstraZeneca vaccine is manufactured, is also considering eliminating the copyright restrictions.
The European Union is also ready to discuss any proposal in a pragmatic manner. And that's why we are ready to discuss how the US proposal for waiver on intellectual property protection for COVID vaccines could help achieve that objective.
Nothing has been cast in stone just yet, as the US and the EU have merely just given their support on the matter. The real decision has to be made by the World Trade Organization. This development could be seen as a solution to the biting global vaccine shortage and what many have been calling vaccine nationalism. But many question the capacity of African countries, including Kenya, to manufacture the shot of hope. The Kenya Medical Research Institute says that while a lot more may be required, Kenya can still produce back home.
We probably don't have the capacity to produce these vaccines because we haven't put together the infrastructure, and it has not been necessary because we haven't even designed our own vaccines ourselves. But if we are given these intellectual property rights, putting up the infrastructure and producing the first doses is not as difficult as the research and development, which fortunately the developed countries have already done. If we determine that this is a national priority, in my opinion, there is no reason why we shouldn't. It's just that it's a very expensive undertaking, for instance, to put together an assembly line for vaccines. It costs the hundreds of millions to billions, like maybe 1.5 or more billion. But that's not a lot of money for a country like Kenya if you think about it.
Africa is home to 17% of the world's population, but can currently produce only 1% of its vaccine needs. Only 7 countries on the continent have companies operating across the vaccine manufacturing value chain, according to the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change.
Immediate term, we have facilities in Africa that can be able to manufacture COVID-19 vaccines. In the medium term, we have countries that are willing to invest and set up appropriate manufacturing facilities so that in the coming years we are able to manufacture these vaccines. So Africa has a modest capacity, but that can be able to be ramped up relatively quickly when the licenses are made available.
The World Trade Organization says they are looking into the matter and will hopefully deliberate soon. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
And from that report, let's look at some regional diplomatic developments. Kenya and Somalia have restored diplomatic relations months into a cross-border dispute which saw both countries recall their ambassadors. Statements from Nairobi and Mogadishu say the resolution was arrived at after talks mediated by Middle East nation Qatar. A statement from Somalia government says, in part, in the interest of good neighborliness, the federal government of Somalia resumes diplomatic ties with Kenya based on mutual benefit and respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, non-external interference, peaceful coexistence, and equality. Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in turn responded. The ministry looks forward to further normalization of relations. President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday received a special message from the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, 2 days after his Somali counterpart held a telephone conversation with the Emir, said to have resolved the stalemate. Somalia cut diplomatic ties with Kenya in December of last year on accusations that Nairobi was interfering with Mogadishu's internal affairs. The two nations are also presently embroiled in a maritime dispute. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu's visit might have ended, but many diplomacy pundits say that she left a lasting impression. This week's visit was aimed at ironing out key issues along the common border, and hopefully from the bilateral meetings bear fruits in the business, transport, energy and immigration sectors. Leila Mohammed reports on a trip that Kenya sought to use to retain a position it has held in the region for years, but one that experts now say may have also favored Tanzania.
Kenya clearly planned, rehearsed and put her best foot forward to welcome a key guest who has become the center of attention and attraction in the East African region.
Itaingia katika kumbukumbu za kihistoria kwa Kenya ndiyo nchi ya kwanza kwa rais wa awamu ya 6 ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania kufanya ziara rasmi.
President Samia was accorded full honors by the Kenya military, a 21-gun salute and a guard of honor.
Nakushukuru kwanza kwa mwaliko huu.
Amid the bilateral and private meetings with Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta that saw the two countries sign key trade and development deals, Kenya's invitation of Tanzania coming off a deal signed between Uganda and Tanzania has been a matter that many felt was an eye-opener for Kenya, that a new lady had come of age, ready to be courted by suitors across the region.
There is a possibility of a 12-member state because Ethiopia has interest, Somalia has interest, DRG Congo has interest in joining. And when all those countries join together, you're looking at a huge economy that one port alone cannot handle. And therefore, we need to make sure that the LAPSET connecting Ethiopia and connecting South Sudan is firmly fixed and in place and ongoing.
For Kenya, the honor of being the first on the block to get this visit has been appreciated, with the head of state seeking to normalize some issues that Tanzania had presented, with declarations that many believe may need policy changes or parliamentary intervention.
Wawekezaji wa Tanzania, mjue ya kwamba muko na uhuru wa kuleta na kufanya biashara zenu hapa bila kuitishwa business visa, bila kuitishwa work permit.
In her charm offensive, President Samia sought to calm Kenya's nerves that the future looks bright.
Nilikwenda Uganda lakini kwa madhumuni maalumu ya kusaini mkataba. Haikuwa ziara rasmi. Nimeanza Kenya si kwa sababu ni karibu kijiografia, bali ni kwa sababu ya umuhimu na nafasi ya Kenya kwa Tanzania.
The visiting president, in her address to the Kenyan parliament, asked lawmakers to help the neighbors nurture a good relationship.
Kenya is the most industrialized country, more than any other East African country. The economy of Kenya is far larger than most of them put together. So who is going to have the know-how to help this country?
To kickstart the cordial relationship with Kenya, which she said will not be deterred, the Tanzanian leader said President Uhuru Kenyatta will be the chief guest in Tanzania during the celebration of the 60th year of Uhuru in December.
Nchi zetu mbili zinakubaliana katika mambo mengi kuliko yale machache sana tunayotofautiana.
Tujiona kama ndugu na dada. Sisi ni kitu kimoja.
While she insisted on engaging all COVID-19 health protocols as she awaited a scientific report from a special committee of Tanzanian medical and science experts. Once the Air Tanzania plane touched down in Dodoma, it was back to factory settings, with all in her delegation and even those on the tarmac not wearing masks. The scene was different when she was bidding farewell to her Kenyan hosts in Nairobi, with her and her team adorning what has become a common wardrobe fixture in many countries. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
I certainly hope something comes out of those talks that were held in the last several hours. Now, sociable and laid-back human, the words to describe the Supreme Court judge nominee Justice William Oko by his friends and relatives. A day after the Judicial Service Commission recommended him to replace retired Justice Jackton Ojwang at the Apex Court, our reporter Oko Kusa went back to his roots in Siaya County.
We began tracking the journey at Usenge Primary School, where the Court of Appeal president traces his formative education years. Justice Ouko is said to have attended Class 1 to Class 7 here back in the early 70s. His former classmates recall a humble boy who loved his books.
Kucheza sana sana huko hakupenda kucheza. Alikuwa tu mtu mpole, alipenda tu classwork sana sana. Alikuwa na concentrate kwa classwork.
Hakuwa mtu wa mtukutu. Kuna vijana watukutu, kuna vijana wapole. Yeye alikuwa mpole.
They say that despite holding a senior position in the judiciary, Justice Ouko has maintained a touch with his past life.
And he called us by name, Adoyo, Akot, Atieno, yeah.
Justice Ouko's former schoolmate turned lecturer also remembers a hard-working young boy in primary school who became a brilliant law student before ending up as one of the best jurists in the country.
He is holding a very high position as a president of the Court of Appeal, and before that as a judge of the High Court. But you wouldn't know that if you saw him interacting with people in this village.
Though some of his relatives had high hopes that Justice Ouko will become the next Chief Justice, his nomination as Supreme Court Judge has still been received positively here.
Kila mtu kama anakwenda kwa mpira mpaka jua yeye ndio atashinda. Na anataka kitu kidogo. Hakuna mtu anataka kitu kidogo. Yote anataka kitu kubwa.
Ni mpango ya Mungu. Kuna ingine pia, lakini sasa hii pia tunashukuru, hii amepata, hii tunashukuru. Now we are expecting him back home. Bado tutaongea, tutacelebrate akikuja.
Ouko Kusa, NTV.
Well, all the best to him with the process remaining to actualize his new position. Now, as we mentioned earlier, our top focus today is the activity at the National Assembly in regards to the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020, popularly known as the BBI Bill, which has been under a vote at the National Assembly for the better part of the afternoon and actually evening. And so far, we are told the activity or the process of voting has ended, and the Speaker is going to be given the results shortly and announce the same to know what follows in the process. And yes, if this particular National Assembly has a total of at least 175 votes to its favor of the BBI bill, then it sails through and will then go to the President for assent before being taken to the IBC as well to make the way for a referendum. And as they keep saying, take the decision to the people. So as soon as the Speaker will be talking and taken to the podium, we will be back to Parliament. But as we take this break, hopefully it will be in good time when we get back. Let's look at those breaking rules. And it is the kind of reckless driving that can easily cost lives. Along the busy Ngong Road, this matatu, registration number KAN 317S, registered to Nankis Sako, was caught on camera using the pedestrian and cyclists' sidewalk to beat traffic. Not to be left behind was this small parastatal SUV, registration number KBT 410N, which sped along the same path, seemingly oblivious of the danger posed to pedestrians. Behind it, other matatus can be spotted about to use the same illegal alternative. It is yet another case of the lives of pedestrians being endangered through impunity. One only hopes that the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, can put its game on actually the good record so that they can get these reckless drivers and stop them from causing any harm. Bure kabisa, tabia mbaya. Let's take a break on that point. We'll be back shortly.
Well, thank you for your time.
And do you have any question for us?
How juicy.
Juicy.
niko fiti maze niko fiti majamaa na mabenti wako fiti Joseph Pro
It's been 20 years of transformation with Optiven, from communities to environment to properties. Victory Gardens Kitengela, Garden of Joy Machakos, Amani Ridge the Place of Peace Kiambu. And now to our brand new gated community project, Happy Gardens in Kitengela. Pay 800k on any of our projects and get 20k cashback PAP. Call us now on 0790 300 300.
Optiven, inspiring possibilities.
I see innovation and entrepreneurship thriving. I see young Kenyans remaking the world around them, creating lasting solutions to tomorrow's problems today. And I see women just like me at the heart of this revolution. And while others might see symbols and numbers, these girls see the language of the future. My name is Dorcas Owino, and I am a co-director at Lake Hub.
My good man.
Yes, yes.
How is the going?
It's okay, it's okay.
Hey, mambo umefikisha wapi?
The foundation should be done in like a month.
Na kanisa ikiwa yote?
With a good cash flow, it's going to take like 8 months.
That is too long.
Simama hapo. Hapo ndio unahubiria. Now, let me tell you, the congregation is sitting here because the sun always rises from that side. Na ndiposa kondoo wako wasije wakachomwa na jua, mlango ndio ule. And then the choir store their instruments here. And lastly, the Sunday school hall there. Finished!
Fast, stress-free construction. Get your factory-made buildings in 10 weeks with SafBuild. Order yours now. SafBuild, a quality building solution from MRM.
Even with all the money in the world, there is no guarantee of a successful marriage. All you need is a strong foundation. Kichana haizi kuambia kitu.
Mimi sitambui watu. Watakupiga mateke mingi, lakini ukipiga punch moja, unaweza vunja kifua ama unaweza vunja mali yako kama ni shoulder, mali talent.
Huyo mtu karate mkianza hapa atakupaka paka sana. Wewe umetulia tu. Sasa utafanya tu
unapima ukimpata.
Ishike tu.
Thank you to the bosses who changed the office entirely in order to create the most comfortable workspace. And to everyone who brings Bureau Time to them in over 50 countries. Bureau Time, asset for success.
It's 19 minutes past the hour, and still activity in Parliament at the moment is counting of the votes, waiting for the results actually, with the National Assembly Speaker, Justin Muturi, set to announce shortly, as that will set the way forward for. And Senate has been debating this very same bill in terms of seeing if there could be amendments, but as per the provision so far in the process that's laid out, as long as one house, one of the either National Assembly or Senate passes it conclusively, which it seems it will be the case for the National Assembly, which needs to garner at least 175 votes. Yes, in support of this particular bill, the BBI bill, then move it forward to the President for assent, then to the IEBC to make the way for a referendum. But as that continues, and as I'm looking at this side, that's why I'm looking at this side at the feed from Parliament, let's continue with the other developments of the day. When you hear PIN, what comes to mind? A location maybe, when you're asking someone to give you the directions to where they live? Well, let our attention sit on the PIN that stands for Personal Identification Number. But for many, those that registered for their Kenya Revenue Authority PIN, the personal aspect was breached when the authority accidentally leaked the list of names and numbers of those it intends to deregister from its roll call. Gena Kirori tells us more on the consequences of this breach on many citizens' privacy.
It is used to pay your tax obligation as a citizen and identifies you for purposes of transacting business with the Kenya Revenue Authority. But on Tuesday, it became the center of discussion for a different reason. A document accidentally uploaded on the Kenya Revenue Authority website published a total of 1,338 names and PIN numbers of taxpayers. Soon after, it began circulating on different social media platforms.
We have to keep them accountable so that they justify
where public good is being derived.
Obilo, a cybercrime engineer, states that every Kenyan citizen is protected under Section 25 of the Data Protection Act, which states that every data controller or processor such as KRA shall ensure that personal data is processed in accordance with the rights of the data subject.
KRA has sort of made it easier for people with malicious intent to sort of profile these people, and it would even be easier for them to launch cyber attacks against them, because one, they have their full names, and two, they have their KRA pins.
He, however, states that the information may not be enough for those with malicious intent, as it would require more data points such as a phone number or a bank account number.
But that's not to say that you're entirely safe if your name was on the list. You should really watch out for any social engineering attacks against you.
The Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, during an online poll release of data privacy and opinions amongst Kenyans, stated that collection of sensitive data is coached towards holding the data controller accountable.
Section 31 actually expects that companies, by default and by design, how they design their systems should take into account matters of data protection.
In the poll, 1,551 respondents were interviewed in 30 counties in the country between February and March this year, with majority being from rural areas. It found that 54% of Kenyans are unaware about their right to privacy, while 46% are aware about their right to privacy. For the 1,338 Kenyans whose PIN details were leaked, they have the recourse to take legal action against KRA if they feel aggrieved enough to follow it through. Ngena Kitori, NTV.
Let's look at the state of the country's asses. This is what I mean. A Wednesday High Court ruling overturning the ban on slaughter of donkeys comes as a major business boost to abattoir owners, but many are sounding the alarm on the impact this may have on the donkey population in the country. Ruth Sarmwe sought the views of farmers and Kenyans, some of whom are just worried they may end up buying the wrong meat from the butcher.
The Wednesday ruling by High Court Justice Richard Mwongo sets the stage for resumption of business in 4 main donkey abattoirs located in Naivasha, Mogotio, Turkana, and Machakos. Star Brilliant, a Naivasha-based abattoir, moved to court seeking a review of a February 2020 government directive stopping the slaughter of the beast of burden. In his ruling, Justice Mwongo indicates that the government's directive violated the rights of the abattoirs who had invested millions into the business. The government had revoked the licenses of the 4 companies following numerous complaints by stakeholders, including those from animal welfare organizations, sounding the alarm on the declining donkey population. Farmers say the move by court to overturn the government's decision on the ban of donkey slaughter will water down the gains they have made in the past year. Farmers opposed to the slaughter of donkeys say the ruling may be detrimental.
Wakati vichinjio zilifungwa, punda zilipungua kuibiwa. Lakini sasa wakifungua tena, punda zitaendelea kuibiwa tena.
Hizi punda hata zikichinjwa ndio zimetuadika. Hizi ndio maofisi zetu. Tunahofia sana kuchinjwa kwa kichinjio, zifungwe.
Ilikuwa 2013. Punda zangu 3 zikapotea. Mpaka kazi siku hiyo sikuwa naenda. Sasa venye wanasema kichinjio, watatumalizia punda zetu, tuachane nazo. Hiyo kichinjio tuache ifungwe.
For some, the thought of ending up with the wrong meat from the butcher is troubling.
Nahofia kaa kwa butcher le tunaweza pata punda zimewekwa huko, alafu na usije kugundua kuwa punda iko hapo.
Punda ni mnyama wa kazi, sio mnyama wa kukuliwa nyama. Na hata kwa tangu enzi za Yesu hatujawahi ona punda ilichinjwa wakati hiyo watu wakakula hata kukiwa na kiangazi. Kwa hivyo sisi tunapinga na tutaki hiyo kichinjio ya punda, kwa sababu wakiisha punda nani atakuwa anatubebea mizigo?
While for others, the order is timely and welcome.
Punda ichinjwe. Manake nyama ya ng'ombe imekuwa bei kali zaidi. So kukiwa na punda na kichinjio yake na bucha yake, nyama itarudi chini, tutakula.
A June 2019 report by Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research indicated that donkeys could be extinct by 2023 if their slaughter is not regulated. Other than the animal's meat, Kenya exports donkey hides to China, which is used in the production of traditional medicines. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV.
Kitengela in the county of Kajiado is one of the fastest growing towns in Kenya. It boasts of a variety of amenities. Its close proximity to an export processing zone has created jobs for many of the residents. But despite the economic growth, some of this cosmopolitan town's residents have to contend with many challenges. One among them, trying to navigate through poor roads. Olive Burrows voices this story that was put together by NTV's George Kiru.
George Munene has lived in Kitengela for 20 years. Over time, nothing much has changed here, he says. The road connectivity is still the same as it was when he first moved in. The very visible change, he notes, over the years in this residential area along the old Namanga Road is the choking dust, given the increased human activity and dilapidated roads.
Shida yetu kubwa ni barabara, hakuna, ni kama hazishughulikiwi. Duka tunashinda tukipanguza vumbi kila siku. Jioni tukienda nyumbani kwenye tunaishi pia kumejaa vumbi.
Unlike Ngong and Kajiado towns, which residents and visitors say boast of better infrastructure, the local residents here have had to live with the poor road network. The road connecting Kitengela town to Rongai town is a nightmare for commuters. While trucks may be able to traverse the rough terrain, it is almost impossible for smaller cars. Construction of the Orata Sameri Road has been stopped after residents protested the shoddy job done by the contractor. The area MCA tabled a motion at the County Assembly to terminate the existing contract and award the tender to a different contractor.
Ile tulisema katika bunge haijaifanyika in writing, sio mdomo, na nikapatia huyu copy. Nikauliza CC wa roads, kwani kuliendaje daraja yetu haijengwa?
When the COVID pandemic struck, counties, yes, as like national government, lost a lot of income from taxes. It is the mwananchi who pay the taxes. It is their business that has been hurt so badly. Some have closed business, and that means reduced taxes. Without these taxes, you will expect that there will be services that will not otherwise have been delivered, even when they were budgeted for to be delivered.
Residents of Milimani area of Kitengela say they may have to resort to protests to be heard.
To try and get the assistance and the help of the governments of the day. And by governments, I mean county government, the national government. We've knocked to every office, Kenha, Kura, every other office, even in the county. Na kila mara tumesumbuka sana kwa sababu ya hii barabara.
Kajiado East Member of Parliament Peris Tobiko says that the solution would lie in changing the profile of Kitengela town.
Our desire is to have Kitengela as a municipality.
Kitengela has grown to become a very big town that now meets the criteria of being categorized into a municipality. As a county government, we have begun that process in earnest of creating Kitengela municipality.
But for now, George Munene, like many others in Kitengela, will have to make a way where there seems to be no way until there is a way, hopefully.
Let's hope this casts a light on the situation of many in Kitengela and the authorities do something about it, not just say a lot about what should be or could be done. We get into the business after the break.
Introducing Nestle Ceregrow Growing Up Cereal. Each bowl of Nestle Ceregrow contains the goodness of cereals and nutrition your child needs to blossom. That's one less thing to worry about. Nestle Ceregrow. It's all good, Mom.
The Policyholders Compensation Fund, PCF, would like to notify Concord Insurance Company Limited policyholders and beneficiaries that the payment period to lodge their claims has been extended for an additional 30 days. The new deadline is now 14th May 2021. All claimants of Concord Insurance Company Limited are required to download the claims form from PCF website www.pcf.go.ke, IRA website www.ira.go.ke, or pick the form from PCF offices, 2nd floor, ZEP Replace, Longonot Road. Fill the form in duplicate and attach copies of the required documents. Submit to PCF for verification, approval, and processing of payment. All payments will be made in line with the fund's guidelines and procedures. PCF, the fund you can trust.
Whoever you choose as a partner along the way, no matter how, listen to your heart. Whose decisions are more important than yours? Never alone on this journey of yours. With you, each step of the way. All the way. Pay as you learn. Pay as you dine. Pay as you see the world. Pay your own way. The way ahead. Union Pay. Your way.
This looks different.
It is. See for yourself.
Okay, so it's a photo.
Look closer. Photos within photos.
What about video?
8K video. Beyond cinema quality.
So...
You can pull portrait quality photos straight from video.
But will it last the whole trip?
Battery for the whole trip and the way back.
This is different.
Told you.
In a world of fake news, Kenyans need the truth. When Kenya's foreign debt goes through the roof. When our athletes cover our nation with glory on the global stage. When they steal from Kenyans in a pandemic. When Kenyans cannot breathe due to the high cost of living. You deserve the truth. The Daily Nation brings you the truth. We are bold for you, full of courage for you. We are resilient for you, telling Kenya's stories without fear or favor, because you deserve the truth. Daily Nation, the truth.
Well, what do you know, Parliament, while we were on a break, the Speaker of National Assembly, Justin Muturi, just announced that the ayes have it in terms of the BBI bill vote, and 235 are voting for it and 83 against, while 2 abstaining and 320 votes being the total. Let's listen into the clerk.
Clause 12, Clause 13, Clause 14, Clause 15, Clause 16, Clause 17, Clause 18, Clause 19, Clause 20, Clause 21, Clause 22, Clause 23, Clause 24, Clause 25, Clause 26, Clause 27, Clause 28, Clause 29, Clause 30, Clause 31, Clause 32, Clause 33, Clause 34, Clause 35, Clause 36, Clause 37, Clause 38, Clause 39, Clause 40, Clause 41, Clause 42, Clause 43, Clause 44, Clause 45, Clause 46, Clause 47, Clause 48, Clause 49, Clause 50, Clause 51, Clause 52, Clause 53, Clause 54, Clause 55, Clause 56, Clause 57, Clause 58, Clause 59, Clause 60, Clause 61, Clause 62, Clause 63, Clause 64, Clause 65, Clause 66, Clause 67, Clause 68, Clause 69, Clause 70, Clause 71, Clause 72, Clause 73, Clause 74. Yeah, you can. So you propose the question.
Honorable members, we have the particular clauses have been read out. So I propose the question, which is that clauses 2 all the way to 74 be now read. Honorable members, I propose yet again that clauses 2 all the way to 74 be part of the bill. And I put the question, which is that clauses 2 all the way to clause 74 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
First schedule, second schedule.
I propose the question, which is that the first schedule and the second schedule be part of the bill. I put the question, which is that the first and second schedule be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question, which is that the title be the title to the bill. I put the question, which is that the title be the title to the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
The resounding sound there is that the ayes have it, and right now they're at the committee of the whole House stage after a resounding 235 vote to support the BBI bill, 83 against it, and 2 abstaining. And of course, this meaning that they have met the 175 threshold, and the formality right now is to make way to move it forward to what would be presidential assent. The IBC also preparing the way for the referendum. It's not as simple as it sounds in terms of the few words that I've just given it there, but it is as good as done in terms of the process in the National Assembly. And now the biggest thing yet would be the referendum. And now into the business. We interrupted a bit for that. All importers sourcing maize from Tanzania will have to be registered through the Agriculture and Food Authority Integrated Management Information System and present a copy of the certificate of registration to the inspector at the border point. This follows the directive from President Uhuru Kenyatta that maize imports from Tanzania be allowed into the country within the next fortnight as part of streamlining non-tariff barriers impeding smooth trade between the two countries. Julian Samboko has the details.
Mawaziri ambao wanahusika mwende mutatue ile jam ambaye iko kule Taveta Holili, ambaye iko pale Namanga, magari iweze kutembea. Ya pili ni hiyo mahindi ambayo imelala hapo mpakani. Waziri, mimi nakupatia wiki 2 yote iwe imefunguliwa na hiyo maneno ishe, kwa sababu hatutaki, kuna haja ya kuumiza watu yetu jameni.
This directive from President Uhuru Kenyatta came barely a month after the Ministry of Agriculture had issued strict protocols for importation of maize from neighboring countries following grave concerns over aflatoxin contamination. In a bid to expedite the implementation of the President's directive and still maintain a tight lead on quality control of maize imports from Tanzania, the Agriculture and Food Authority now says that all those sourcing maize from Tanzania will have to be registered through its Integrated Management Information System and present a copy of the certificate of registration to the inspector at the border point. Upon successful application, the importer will be issued with the registration certificate online within the same day of application. Maize importers will be required to present the following documents to the inspector at the border point for verification. First, a certificate of registration. Second, documents showing the consignment details. And third, a certificate of conformity from a competent authority in the exporting country as evidence of the safety of the consignment. Upon submission of these documents, the inspector will validate the registration certificate against a register of the importer already registered by the Food Directorate. Maize traders in Kenya have expressed optimism as to what the easing of restrictions on imports from Tanzania means for their business.
Tulikasirika kuona kwamba mahindi zimefungiwa kutoka nchi ya Tanzania. Kwa hivyo tunafurahia sana sasa hivi kuona kwamba rais ameshaongea mahindi itaingia kwenye Kenya na biashara itaendelea kama kawaida.
Ni kama kazi ile ambayo tulikosa inarudi. Maana kazi ya mahindi ilikuwa ni nyingi na ilikuwa inatupatia kibarua sana. Na hivi tangu hiyo kazi yani mahindi iliposimamishwa, japo sisi hatukujua ile madhara ambayo serikali ilikuwa imekusudia ama ilikuwa inasema, lakini upande wetu ilikuwa inatufaidi, maana ilikuwa inatupatia kibarua kila siku.
These views have been shared by their counterparts in Tanzania.
Rais alivyoenda kuongea na Uhuru kule, tunaona kazi itafunguka sana. Maana hata kasi ya kazi sasa hivi imefunguka sana.
Kulingana na rais walivyoongea, rais wa Kenya na Tanzania, tunaona baina hizi nchi mbili zitaungana kwa ushirikiano mzuri.
Kenya, on average, imports 544,000 tons of maize annually, valued at 14 billion shillings. Julian's Amboko, NTV.
Treasury and Planning Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani has issued an ultimatum to government agencies tasked with the process of operationalizing the port of Lamu, with pending infrastructural challenges that will play a critical role in the clearance of cargo. CS Yatani insists that all critical systems must be ready before May 20th, when the first vessel is expected to dock at the port. The ship will be arriving, with cargo that will also be transported via road to various destinations. Construction of the Lamu-Garsen road is still underway as the government installed security surveillance along the corridor to allow movement of cargo. The first berth is complete and operational, with berths 2 and 3 expected to be complete by October 2020. KPA, KRA and other agencies have already deployed staff.
Towards the timeline of 20th May, which is maybe possible in the next few days, maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks. We've had a very fruitful discussion, and they have made very useful proposals and asks, and we are going to consider them positively, including giving necessary incentives for a period of time until the port of Lamu will have reached that standard to compete with the port of Mombasa and beyond.
The Senate Committee on Finance and Budget has invited members of the public to submit their views on the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, the Senate Bill number 30 of 2021. The bill was first read in the Senate on Tuesday this week and thereafter committed to the committee. The inclusion of public participation in the budget-making process is enshrined in the Constitution. If you wish to submit your views on the budget to the Senate, you may send your submission to csenate@parliament.go.ke or scfinanceandbudget@gmail.com. The deadline for submission is on or before noon of Wednesday next week. Over the years, farmers have been incurring losses due to the lack of proper post-harvest management practices. But an initiative by researchers is set to change the trend, translating the better fortunes into better fortunes for farmers. Our reporter Gabriel Kudaka visited maize farmers in Uasin Gishu and Trans Nzoia counties and brings you the details.
Francis Gashie from Matisi village has more than 5,000 bags of maize in his different stores in Trans Nzoia County. He has been hoarding the grains with a hope for better prices.
Mahindi haya yangu nimeweka kwa vile bei imekuwa chini, na nikiweza kuuza kwa ile bei iliyoko wakati hii haiwezi kuweza kuniruhusu nirudi kwa shamba.
Just like Gashie, Solomon Kiplagat and Philip Kipyegon from Kapsituate Farm are yet to find market for their maize. But the continued storage of maize can sometimes result in due to attacks from post-harvest pests like weevils.
Mahindi yetu yamepamiwa na watutu kwa sababu serikali imechukua muda kutununulia mahindi. Imekarimu sisi pesa mingi sana kwa kuibati.
This was one of the traditional ways of determining whether maize had fully dried for storage or milling purposes. There are times when their techniques would fail them.
We could carry maize to the National Cereals Board, and we were told that the moisture is 18% or 15% or higher.
It is due to such concerns that scientists from Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization have come up with new technologies to help curb the issue.
We, from science, actually, we are losing up to 40% of the post-harvest losses every year, which translates to around 150 billion every year. So that's a lot of money that could have been used to engage other sectors of the economy.
Carl Rowe has partnered with county governments to scale up the adoption of innovative post-harvest management technologies.
Hermetic condition ensures that no insect lives inside, chemical-free, so long as the grain has been well dried. So I believe we'll be able to reduce the post-harvest losses to somewhere close to 10%, so that at least we retain food enough to feed the nation. Record has it that we normally have close to 30% post-harvest losses in this.
Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
From that good fortune for maize farmers and others, let's look at the maize in Parliament. I'm looking at my screen here in the feed in Parliament and what's happening right now. And they've just gone through the third reading, and this is still on the BBI bill. Remember, the second reading and went into the voting, which had a vote of 235, which is way beyond the threshold of 175. So right now, one side is moving to the yes side and the other is to the no side. And as it can be seen from your screen, the yes or the ayes have it in this particular instance, and it moves on to the next stage. Basically, it sailed through the National Assembly. That's it for business, as well as what's happening in Parliament. More after the break.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief, and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Advance for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Advance. This has been Medifax for Panadol.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Karibu kwenye kipindi kingine cha Wakenya wakisongesha pesa zao. Tunamwona Abu wa Maviz anapiga deal zake, Nancy analipia materials, naye Agi ana sort suppliers, huku Kiongozi akilipa watu wake. Lakini ngori, mathematics imekataa yawa. Mara itakosi ngapi kutuma na itakuwa ngapi ya kutoa, na transactions ikiwa nyingi, kuteseka inazidi. Ai, sasa cheki mateso, ni kama maths paper tu. Woi, epuka mental mathematics haki. Simply switch to T-Cash to send money for free to all networks. Pata memo Abu.
Beat sensitivity pain fast with Sensodyne Rapid Action for clinically proven relief in 60 seconds.
In a world of fake news, Kenyans need the truth. When Kenya's foreign debt goes through the roof, When our athletes cover our nation with glory on the global stage. When they steal from Kenyans in a pandemic. When Kenyans cannot breathe due to the high cost of living. You deserve the truth. The Daily Nation brings you the truth. We are bold for you, full of courage for you. We are resilient for you, telling Kenya's stories without fear or favor, because you deserve the truth. Daily Nation, the truth.
If ever there was a count that counted, then this is it. For the first time ever, Kenya will undertake a national wildlife census on land and sea, officially launching at the Shimba Hills National Reserve. This count will give a picture of our national heritage and support the ongoing conservation efforts. The Great Census. Every animal counts. Funded by the government of Kenya. Count to conserve.
Welcome back. The International Criminal Court has sentenced former Lord's Resistance Army rebel commander Dominic Ongwen to 25 years in prison for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in northern Uganda. He had been convicted in February on 61 counts of crimes in relation to his involvement in the deadly attacks on IDP camps in Pajule, Odek, Lukodi and Abok between 2002 and 2005. NTV Uganda's Edward Muhumuza spent the day following the case and our reports.
All rise. Veuillez-vous lever?
The judges said in the pre-sentencing submissions, prosecution asked for 20 years in prison for Dominic Ongwen. The victims asked for life imprisonment, which was declined by the court. But the defense asked for an even lighter sentence, so light that they wanted him tried under the Acholi traditional justice system, with community service one of the options. That was declined too. But remember, crimes for which Dominic Ongwen was convicted attracted 30 years in prison, and so the judges had to look at all the options and submissions and settled for 25 years, meaning Ongwen will spend 20 years in prison after deducting the 5 years he's been under incarceration. But still, the 20 years will be reviewed after him serving 2/3 of the sentence.
The chamber sentences you to a total period of imprisonment of 25 years as a joint sentence for the 61 crimes of which you were found guilty.
So from today, Dominic Ongwen has 30 days within which to appeal this sentence. If he does, which we already know he will, then we will have to wait for the appeals chamber to determine the appeal. But in the meantime, according to the 3 judges, reparation or compensation to the victims is ongoing, a process which can only be stopped if Dominic Ongwen is finally acquitted.
The majority is confident that this joint sentence adequately reflects the strongest condemnation by the international community of the crimes committed by Dominic Ongwen and acknowledges the great harm and suffering caused to the victims. At the same time, such a joint sentence acknowledges Dominic Ongwen's unique personal history and safeguards the prospect of his successful social rehabilitation and consequently the concrete possibility of future reintegration into society.
So where will Dominic Ongwen be in the meantime? Well, he will remain in the ICC detention until the 30 days within which to appeal. If there is no appeal, then he will be transferred into a quote-unquote standard prison in one of those countries that have an MOU with the court to incarcerate its convicts. And if he appeals, then we will have to wait for a period which the court says will either be long or short. Edward Muhumuza, NTV.
Thank you, Edward, for that report. And we get into the sports after the break shortly.
Every mom,
You want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
What do you think about Molfix?
Actually, another brand was recommended to me, but it had a leakage problem. Then I decided to try Molfix. His clothes don't get wet anymore.
Because Molfix provides extra protection against leakage thanks to its anti-leakage elastic barriers. All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
It's been 20 years of transformation with Optiven, from communities to environment to properties. Victory Gardens Kitengela, Garden of Joy Machakos, Amani Ridge the Place of Peace Kiambu. And now to our brand new gated community project, Happy Gardens in Kitengela. Pay 800k on any of our projects and get 20k cashback PAP. Call us now on 0790 300 300.
Optiven, inspiring possibilities.
Weka Collabo na Shell, Shinda Fuso FI is back and bigger. Weka Collabo na Shell Fuels plus Shell Lubricants, Africa's Oshopata convenience shop. To enter the draw, dial *384*200#, enter the code from your voucher and follow the prompts. Terms and conditions apply.
Even with all the money in the world, there is no guarantee of a successful marriage. All you need is a strong foundation. Ya kichana hizi kuambia kitu.
Mimi sitambui watu. Watakupiga mateke mingi, lakini ukipiga punch moja, unaweza vunja kifua ama unaweza vunja mali yako kama ni shoulder, mali talent.
Huyo mtu karate mkianza hapa atakupaka paka sana. Wewe tulia tu. Sasa utafanya tu
unapima ukimpata.
Deep ishike tu.
Thank you to the bosses who changed the office entirely in order to create the most comfortable workspace. And to everyone who brings Bureau Time to them in over 50 countries. Bureau Time, asset for success.
Time to play. NTV will air the World Athletics Under-20 Championships live and free from the 17th to the 22nd of August. Nation Media Group this morning launched its media campaign at the championships venue Kasarani Stadium. During the launch, Sports CS Amina Mohammed recognized the role sports journalists and indeed the Nation Media Group plays in the development of sports. NMG CEO Stephen Gitagama, on his part, pledged continued support to the growth of sports in the country. The championships were postponed from last year due to the coronavirus pandemic.
One of the great Olympic moments. A new world record!
At NTV, we've brought to you various sporting activity. Lately, we had the Kip Keino Classic at Nyayo Stadium, a sign that we are committed to developing sports in this country. And we continue with this commitment to ensure that we bring you the latest happening, the latest events in sports. And we've invested significantly in our technology that will ensure that we get our views with the best available technology in the world. This will continue, and I can assure you, you will not be disappointed. And anytime you want to catch up on what is happening on sports, please tune on to NTV. In addition to that, we have the daily newspapers, the Nation newspaper, which covers adequately. We have some of the best journalists that Africa has on the sporting world.
It's therefore a great honor to host the world and our own internationally renowned champions here at home for such a major event. The government, ladies and gentlemen, through the leadership of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and Her Excellency Mrs. Margaret Kenyatta, who is the patron of the event, ensured that adequate resources were provided to put this event together. And that is despite the prevailing global challenges. We are indeed the home of champions.
In our second installment of Sports in Turkana, Ida Waringa looks at the role of football in social change. This week on Turkana Cradle to the Podium, we focus on how residents are using the beautiful game to curb teenage pregnancies and rehabilitate teen mothers amidst challenges such as traditional stereotypes.
Wasichana wetu wa Turkana wamerudi nyuma sana, na kaunti yetu ndio imerudisha kaunti wasichana wetu wa Turkana nyuma.
A shared sentiment amongst locals in Turkana County. The casual, friendly football match between two women's teams notwithstanding, women's football in the county is relatively new. Raya Lomoji took it upon herself to start the county's first all-girls team, the Desert Roses, in 2017. Lomoji inspired the formation of 8 other women's teams in the hope that one day they will compete in a zonal league.
Sisi ni kama wazazi, sasa tumepata watoto wengine. Sasa hiyo inatupatia furaha kumaanisha kuna kitu tulifanya kisura ambayo imefanya pia matimu zingine sikuje.
In a county generally regarded as Kenya's most marginalized, residents hope to use the power of sport to dissuade the youth against a myriad of social vices.
Wasichana walikuwa wanakunywa pombe, early marriage, na hii uwanja ilikuwa ni afituko kila wakati.
Consequently, the issue of teenage pregnancies has gripped the young female population.
Let us come together, tuone venye tunaweza saidia hawa ladies. Kabisa, sababu I'm crying. Kipata msichana ampata mimba akiwa na 9 years. Sasa surely, what's that?
Wengi sana wale nimewaona ni kuanzia 11, 12, 13, 14. Mpaka hata nilipeleka, kuna wakati tulikuwa na meeting na ofisi ya chief. Na tulikuwa tumekuja na all social services ya Napetet mzima kukaa na tuone jinsi gani tunaweza badilisha hii community ya Napetet.
According to a 2017 economic survey report, 20.2% of girls aged between 15 and 19 in Turkana have already begun childbearing.
Hakuna kitu unafanya activity apart from maybe unaenda chuo, maybe upatiwe mimba hivi, yani unajiachilia. Lakini ukiwa kwa uwanja akili yako itakuwa active.
It's something that Naomi knows all too well after getting pregnant at 15.
Sasa si tambo ukae nyumbani una mahali pa kwenda. Na nini, maybe boyfriend wako amekuita, sitabidi umeenda. Sasa hiyo inaweza cause hiyo early pregnancies.
In a culture where educational priorities are predominantly placed on the boy, the now 17-year-old's path was different.
Penye nilijifungua hivi kabidi nimerudi shule, na pia hii maneno ya boli kanisaidia, sasa nikajikeep busy na boli na nikaenda shule.
Not everyone is as lucky.
Kuna wenye waona nini basi wasasi hivi, sasa hakuna wenye watasaidika na hapo hivyo. Sasa mtu akijifungua kuna mtu akumrudisha shule, maybe alikuwa na scholarship hivyo ndo amelose, sasa anakaa hivyo.
With over 60% of adult women in Turkana having no formal education, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime chance gone. While using football as a tool to rehabilitate against different social vices, a new set of challenges has arisen with the county government on the sport. From lack of resources to equipment to facilities. Turkana County has never had a single stadium or pitch, with sports people opting to train either in the early morning or evening to avoid dehydration and blisters caused by playing in the hot sand.
So, huwezi compare hapa na huko. Hata mtu wa huko akiletwa chesa hapa obvious ataumia kosi. Hapo ukianguka unaweza obvious ukiganguka itakugarua. Na huko hivyo unajua kicheza kwa nyasi hakuna nini yoyote. Utakuwa tu sawa.
Furthermore, the county government has been accused of disregarding the women's game, a claim it rejects.
We had about 8 million for talent development. Then we had about 4 million for procurement of sports goods and items, which we have done.
The county government affirms on its 4 pillars, which include development of sports facilities, athlete support, procurement of sports equipment, and talent development. Despite many of the moves to change the face of women's sports in Turkana seemingly independently spurred, the girls continue unabated.
Mimi mwenyewe nasoma ni achieve my success, nisaidie familia yetu na pia tusaidie mpira yetu.
Ida Waringa, NTV, Turkana County.
The WRC Safari Rally CEO, Phineas Kimathi, has expressed that the upcoming event will be open to rally fans outside Kenya. Speaking during a partnership meeting with Nation Media Group at the WRC offices at the Kasarani Stadium, Kimathi expressed that the event required as much support as possible. He added that the fans must follow the health and safety protocols. The WRC, which is one of the international events on this year's sporting calendar, is making a return to the country after a 19-year hiatus.
I send greetings to them and an invitation to them to come to the safari. My immediate advice is that they should not look for accommodation in Naivasha. Let them stay in Nakuru. And the rally actually is very close to Nakuru because it goes all the way to Lanet. And in terms of facilitation, in terms of border control, we're going to get somebody to coordinate that team and a contact person who will have the right contacts with our National Police Service so that where they need help, they will be assisted.
And that's where we park it for NTV Tonight and NTV Sports Indeed. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. The process in Parliament is still ongoing with the voting on the third reading about to take place. But so far with the second reading, the votes there were 235 in favor of the BBI bill, and it is still going to continue. We have to end it here for programming reasons, but we'll be giving you the highlights and what it means moving forward. But by all means, it looks like it has sailed through the National Assembly. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a good night. Be safe.